Well, hello. Today, Brandi Locker and myself, Patrick Sarsfield, are here to present our relatively recent book, Maximizing Tableau Server, a beginner's guide, that's very important, a beginner's guide to accessing, sharing, and managing content on Tableau Server. And this book was written for everyday users of Tableau Server. So think about your regular analysts and developers. This is not meant to be for someone that is a Zen master or now visionary, or someone that has the knowledge of a Tableau server administrator or site administrator. It's really just the everyday user, and that's why beginners in the title. First off, what is Tableau Server? It is a business intelligence application that provides a centralized location to store, edit, share, and collaborate on content. And that content can be things like dashboards or data sources. Uh, Now, this book is really just meant to get you up and running with Tableau Server to help you do things like increase user engagement and reduce redundant and reduce and eliminate redundant tasks, and also, I mean, really just help you get your published content from something like Tableau Desktop up onto Tableau Server or Tableau Online. And through this talk, I may reference, and Brady may reference Tableau Server or Tableau Online. We're going to use those terms interchangeably here, as everything we'll be showing should be applicable to both Tableau Server and both Tableau Online. That may not always be the case, but for this presentation, that will be the case. Uh, now to now to introduce ourselves, that's me up here. I am Pat Sarsfield, and I up until recently was at Lovelytics, which is wonderful. But I had a amazing opportunity to come over to Cisco as a data visualization manager. And so as of about 2 days ago, I became a Cisco employee officially. And I have been using Tableau for probably about four years, ever since I was introduced to it, maybe almost 5 now, introduced to it in grad school and was getting my MBA. And my experience with Tableau Server specifically was I had first gone in and created a dashboard at work. So I first started off on public, and then I moved over to getting a license at work, and I created my first dashboard, and I had a mentor, but he didn't come into the office every day, so I had to wait about 2 weeks. And I remember just sitting there thinking to myself, okay, now what? I've created this awesome dashboard I want to share with people, but I don't know what to do. And a correct Google search probably would have helped me out, but I don't even think I had the right terms to search at the time. So I just sat there and waited until this mentor of mine came back and showed me how to upload something to Tableau Server. And what's funny is I just had this recent experience with another coworker at Cisco who went through a multi-day training, a 3-day training through Lovelytics actually, and learned a lot more than she ever had. And she had this great dashboard she wanted to share, and she came to me and she said the same exact thing. Well, now what? Well, now I want to share it with people, but I don't know how to do it. And I had a flashback, 4 years ago, of the same exact experience for myself. And so this is one of the reasons why I wrote this book, is because I think that a lot of people hit that now what point um, after they create their first data visualization. Now what? What do you do? How do I share this amazing work with other people, especially within an organization? So that's my experience. Brandi, do you want to talk about yourself and discuss your experience?
Sure. Thanks, Pat. My name is Brandi Locker. I am a senior consultant specializing in data viz at Keras US. I also co-lead the North Texas Tableau user group. I've been working in the data analytics space for about 6 years. 4 of those have been in Tableau specifically. And then prior to working at Keras, I was in the insurance industry working in their analytics side of things. And in that role, I used Tableau Server as a developer. So, publishing, managing, sharing content with our internal customers. And my experience was very, very similar to Pat's. I had a, mentor kind of take me under his wing there. And spoiler alert, it was Pat. And but it was the same thing. I finished my first dashboard and was like, okay, cool. What do I do with this thing? And my manager at the time was not sure and how to guide me in that process. Wasn't as she was new herself, and so we just ended up kind of going in circles a little bit. And it would have been great to have some guidance on how in the world to use this tool, because at the time I think I just figured out the one task I needed to do, which was publishing, and then I pretty much didn't really explore any of the other features for a very long time. And it wasn't until we were writing the book that we started actually clicking on all of the buttons to see what everything does. And it was like, oh wow, there's so many features here that I feel like are just getting neglected. in their use with most people just because, it's not necessarily talked about as much as Tableau Desktop. So it's my experience.
Yeah, to tag onto that, a lot of times what happens, I think to most analysts at least, or end users, is they just receive a Tableau dashboard. They just receive a URL, a link to a dashboard from, let's say their managers, and they say, hey, here's this finance dashboard. Everything you need is here. But you're not really taught how to use it or engage with it. And because of, you can use the Pareto principle and, 20% of the knowledge can usually provide about 80% of what you need. But at the end of the day, like Brady said, there's so many different things you can do. And basically we were paid to explore all the different features that Tableau Server had to offer. And at the time, we probably thought we had a pretty good grasp on it. And one of the surprising things was all the things that we didn't know you could do, and sometimes things that were different than what we initially anticipated. So we thought, well, usually things work the way we thought they would, but sometimes things were slightly different than we expected. And those were the things we really want to touch on the book, were the things that were somewhat different than maybe what you might anticipate. And then also just the really useful features to get your awesome work out to others. So I will hand it back to Brandy to go over the agenda.
Perfect. Yeah, so there's a lot in Tableau Server or Tableau Online to cover, but we kind of picked a few that are our favorites that we feel like will make the biggest impact in your day to day. And so we'll be going through what we call the navigation pane, that pane on the left, and which we'll talk about, and then going through some custom views, alerts, subscriptions, metrics. Those are all available when you're looking at a view, kind of in that top toolbar area. So we'll explore what those do and kind of how to set those up. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the search features. They recently kind of revamped the quick search feature, but we've also got the filtered search pane, which in my opinion, that's one of my favorite features. I use it all the time, but it was, again, something that I didn't really even know was there until we started exploring for the book. So I think that's a great one. And then also tags and collections. So looking forward to doing a deep dive in some of these items with you guys.
Yeah, tags is one of my favorite items to discuss because I think that is really an underutilized, unloved one, but it's so common in social media. So I'm excited to go over that with you guys. Okay, so why why does Tableau Server / Tableau Online matter? Well, really, for the majority of end users, this is really their first introduction to real power, real data visualization, real data analytics, real report automation. And understanding how to manage content and automate redundant tasks and increase user engagement are really invaluable skills to any organization. Doesn't matter if it's nonprofit, doesn't matter if it's for profit, doesn't matter if it's for education. It's just, this is fantastic across the board. And then finally, one of the things that we realized as we were writing this based on our experience was that really, as an end user, you can begin learning graphicacy and practicing new skills via web edits on Tableau Server, as let's say someone that does not have access to Tableau Desktop, and this can actually help create future developers. So you might find your love of Tableau or data visualization through actually Tableau Server, because that's oftentimes many people's first introduction to it. And so an analyst may decide, hey, this report is awesome. I want to do that. How do I do it? Well, if they have just basic access to web edit and yeah, VDCs, virtual data connections, you can actually begin making just about everything you need right within Tableau Server. And just as of probably a week ago, I was watching Tableau Tim's YouTube channel, and he kind of alluded to the fact that Tableau is doing a really good job of making everything pretty seamless within Tableau Server. So what he meant by that was that everything, you can pretty much do everything you need via web edits. You don't, there may be a point in the next few years where you don't really, where web edits and desktop are so similar that you don't really need to go to desktop anymore, because right now I think it's about 95% of the things, maybe a little higher, that are available in desktop are available in web edits, on Tableau Server. Now that may get, once it gets closer to 100%, why would you need to even open up desktop? So you may have the option to, but it may not be necessary. You may be able to do everything right within the web. And that would be, I think that would be pretty cool to have that option. So let me jump over to my Tableau Server site. But I'm going to hand this over to Brandi in a moment, but I just want to talk about what we're looking at here. This is Tableau Server. So this is actually my site on Tableau Server. So what I want to discuss really briefly is something that some of you may have and some of you may not, but if you see right here, I have a little drop down right here. It has my name on it. This is my Tableau Server site. There are 3 other sites on the server, and that is because Tableau Server or Tableau Server is has a multi-tenant structure. And all that means is that you can have multiple tenants, and tenants are sites in this case, on a single instance of server. So in this case, I have access to 3 sites on this server. And this is the one that we'll be sharing today, my individual Tableau server site where I am the Tableau server, sorry, I'm the Tableau site admin. So the only person above me would be the server administrator. With that, I will hand it over to Brandi to go over the navigation pane.
Thanks, Pat. And actually, a quick detour before we get started. I just want to call out the content you see here. So thanks to our lovely friends in the Tableau community, we were able to use some of their real-world fake data work, that initiative from Mark Bradburn. And so the data, the visualizations you see here, we did not design. Those are all just folks in the community. They're featured throughout the book, and we just want to highlight that here and give them full credit. So let's see. So I want to go ahead and briefly review some basic features of the server interface for those of you that may not be as familiar. On the left side of the screen, you'll see a panel that we call the navigation pane. I alluded to this earlier. The panel includes links to various places, including your favorites, your recents, your personal space in the Explore page. Obviously, there's more. We're not going to talk about every single one of them today. Really, that everything that you see below Explore, that's more for site admin stuff. So you may not even have that available to you, which is completely fine. So our example here on our server site, it has additional options. I'm sorry, we already talked about that. So let's take a look first at the homepage. So the homepage is what you see when you first log on to Tableau Server. It's what we're looking at now. Here you'll see a preview of your favorite content, your recents, and some recommendations. And recommendations are kind of a new feature from Tableau Server. Looks like Pat doesn't have any, so I might have a brand new site up here. But not to worry, that'll kind of populate as he uses it more. And you'll notice to the right of each of these sections, there's a little blue link that says See All. And that's just a second way to take you to each of these pages that are also featured in that pane on the left. So 2 different ways of getting to the same place. You can click on the See All button from the home page, or you can click on the, in this case, the Favorites button on the navigation pane. And actually, Pat, I'm gonna have you jump to Recents if you would. So as you may have guessed from the name, the Recents page allows you to pick up where you left off by showing the content that you've opened more recently. So this is similar to how Tableau Desktop will list your recently opened workbooks whenever you first open a brand new workbook. Kind of same concept here. So this is just kind of a quick way to jump back in. And then now we're going to go ahead and look back at that favorites page we just visited a second ago. So the favorites page is where all of the content that you have marked as a favorite is saved. It's similar to creating a bookmark in your web browser. So it's not moving the location of anything. Everything's still stored in its original project or folder location, but it's just kind of creating a shortcut for you to find that content faster. There's multiple ways to mark an item as a favorite. From all these pages, the home, recents, explore, etc. As you're looking at the content, you'll see there's a star at the lower right side of the view preview. And so if you just click that little star, it'll add it to your favorites list. So that's one way, a very easy way. And you can also click on one of these items. So let's open a dashboard, Pat. All right, so up at the top next to the dashboard name, and it's also in that same file path, there's that same star. You can add or remove a specific dashboard from your favorites. And then also another quick tip as we look at the third way to add a favorite is, Pat, if you'll click on the call center dashboard dash chimney link at the top, there you go, perfect. So this is a way where you can navigate throughout that file path. So instead of having to hit the back button, however many times, uh, if your dashboard is nested in about 4 different projects, then this is a quick way to kind of jump through that project hierarchy. And so, but this right here, so this is a great example. This is a dashboard that has, or a workbook really, that has multiple dashboards within. And so you can actually favorite a specific dashboard within a workbook by doing that same, click on that same little star at the lower right of each view. So that's the third way. So next up, let's go ahead and let's look at that overview dashboard, Pat. And we're going to look at some of these features that are along what we call the top toolbar. And we are going to start with custom views. So custom views allow you to save a view that contains your personalized selections on an existing dashboard or worksheet. So if there's a dashboard that you have to filter to, let's say your region or your team, every time you're trying to see your data, you can make all of your filter selections on that dashboard and then create a custom view so that those filter selections are saved for you in the future. You can even set a custom view to be your default view so that whenever you click on that dashboard, you'll see your customizations first. And important note, your customized views do not affect the original view, so you're not messing anything up, or there's no fear of breaking anything there by creating your own view. So let's look at how to create one. So to create a custom view, let's make a selection or two in the dashboard. We can click on some of these interactive components. Perfect. So we've got these other charts like the daily call volume filtered to Chicago. And let's click on that view original button. All right, so this opens the custom views dialog. And first, box we see is name this view. So we can just call this Pat's view or whatever we'd like to call this. And let's see here. So perfect, thanks, Pat. Below that, you've got a couple of checkboxes. The first is make it my default. So that's what I mentioned by if you check this box, whenever you open this dashboard, it's going to automatically open to this view instead of the original view. So that can be a handy feature. And you can also make this visible to others. So if you would, like coming back to the region example, like if you're trying to look at the, north region of, your sales group or what have you, then you can check this, and then anyone in that region can take a look at that specific view that you've saved. And yeah, you can go ahead and save for me, please. And then once we save it, you'll notice that the custom view button at the top now reads Chicago Contact Center, which is that view that we just created. So we're looking at the new customized view here. And if you ever want to kind of explore what the views are, you can click on this again, actually. And down, yep, perfect. You see where we've got the My View selected, and then the original views, and then that Manage Views button at the bottom that he just clicked on. It takes you to the views that you've created. And this is where you can edit a view, you can delete it completely, and you can also, that little eye icon, it allows you to make it public or hide it. So you can toggle that on and off as you need. So that's a great way to manage those views. Right, and next up, we've got alerts. So alerts are automated email notifications that inform recipients when a data point reaches a defined threshold. The alerts button is in the top toolbar right next to the custom views button. So to create an alert, you have to first click on a numeric axis of a chart. And it's important to note here that the axis must be visible to create an alert. So sometimes in our dashboard design, we don't, for example, the call center bar chart to the left where we filtered to Chicago, that one we could not create an alert with this one because we don't have a visible axis. But the daily call volume over to the right has the axis shown. So that's perfect. So we can click on that and we can create a metric. All right, so once you click that button in that little right alerts pane, this create alert dialog box appears. And this is where we can really customize what we want to see. So if you were to have clicked on a specific point within that chart, it would kind of default to that value. But in this case, we just selected the axis. So this is great. We can kind of pick whatever we want. So right now it's defaulting to 160. We could even make that higher and say 200. And so now we want an alert if we have more than 200 calls in our day, and the subject box will be the subject of the email that you receive. And so you can customize that however you need. And then below that, you have the, it says when the condition is true, send this alert. And this will give you the frequency. And so you can, daily, hourly, I think, it is really just as often as you need, even as frequently as possible. And then, or if it's just one-time thing, that's fine too. So that's how you choose your frequency. And then down here is where you select your recipient. So you can, just flag an alert for yourself, or you can add in others in your server site as well. And then you can choose to make this alert visible to others. And yeah, let's go ahead and check that, and let's create our alert. All right, perfect. So now your new alert should now appear in the alerts pane that's on the right side of the screen. You can use the actions button for a specific alert to make changes, delete it, remove yourself from the alert. So you can actually, so next up we have subscriptions. Subscriptions are regularly scheduled emails containing an image or a PDF or both of a dashboard or a view. So the subscription button, as you just saw, is located next to the metrics button between metrics and edit. So once you click on that, you get this subscribe dialog box. This is where you can add others to this subscription, or you can just click that subscribe me button and it'll auto populate your name in that field. Perfect. And then below this, you have your choice of including just the one view, so the one dashboard that you're looking at, or you can include the entire workbook, whichever you prefer. And then below that, you have the option to, not get the subscription email if the view is empty for some reason. So if, there's a glitch with the data and it doesn't populate, you can choose to just not receive it that day. And then this is your format. So this is where I mentioned you can choose if you want to, have an image sent or PDF, or you can have both. And you can actually, I believe this is for the PDF, you can select your paper size and orientation, all that. So it's nice that it allows you to customize that feature for you. And then the subject, again, is the subject line for the email that you'll receive. So you can give it whatever name you would like. And you can also add an optional message in that email, but no need to fill it out if you don't want to. On the frequency, pretty self-explanatory. It allows you to choose if, if you want to get the subscription whenever the data refreshes or on a specific schedule. And so perfect. So if you choose that frequency button, when you select when data refreshes, you'll automatically get that set up. But then if you look at the other option, you'll see the selected schedule. And then, yep, these are usually set up by your site admins. So if you can have them create a customized schedule for you if you need, and that way you can get it kind of a specific day or time. All right, so let's go ahead and subscribe. And then perfect. So notice on this one, nothing really appears for you, but if you do want to manage your subscriptions, you can actually, let's click on that subscribe button again. At the bottom left of this box, you see the blue link to manage subscriptions. If you click on this, it's going to take you to your own kind of content area. So this is where all of your content and your stuff is on your site. And at the far right in this option, you see that subscription tab. So this is the subscription we just created. So this is where you can kind of manage that. So if you want to delete it, you can delete it with that little ellipses button in the actions column, or just like Pat's doing, you can click on that checkbox and unsubscribe with the actions menu. All right, perfect. Let's see here how we're doing on time. Really quickly, let's take a look at the share feature. So if we go back into that overview dashboard, next to the edit button, we've got the share button. This is just a real quick and easy way to share your content with others. And so that's the whole point, right? And so if you type in names, or even I think groups would work here as well. But if you type in a name here, you can select server users to share this directly on Tableau Server, and it'll appear in their shared with me section on on their homepage. Or you can, let's see, where's your little link? Top of your browser and share that with them as well. Just a couple of quick ways to share your content with others. Now I'm going to pass it to Pat to take over with another feature from the top toolbar.
Thank you, Brandi. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to go over is just one more feature on dashboard that's available here in this beautiful real-world fake data contact center dashboard created by Chimdi Nwuso. And I am going to show metrics. So metrics are Great. Let me open up one. It's right here. Here's the button. I already have a few metrics already created. Actually, I have 3. And you see here that I actually have a create button. Not everyone may have this create button. If you don't have it, that I would just talk to your manager, your Tableau server administrator, and see if you can gain that access. Really, the reason why I have this is because I either have a creator or explore can publish site role. So that's what you'd require if you do want to end up creating a metric. Now, if you just want to observe metrics that already been created, that's available to anyone, regardless of your site role. So what is a metric? I mean, you can kind of see here, they look like bands. Big ass numbers is coined by Steve Wexler, right? Like this is definitely looks like a band right there, and this looks like pretty much like a band with the timeline below it. So a metric is really just a something. It's something created from an existing view. It's kind of like an at a glance uh, data value. Is at a glance data values, and they really just are for key performance indicators. So that's what they're really helpful for. So your KPIs, if your organization uses that acronym, and it doesn't require a developer to create this. Even an analyst that has this ability can point and click and create a quick metric. The only thing that's required of metrics is that you have an aggregate measure. And that's because when they are unaggregated, a mark is unaggregated, it won't show change over time. So, for example, as long as I click on a mark here, now I'm going to unclick Chicago, set that back. Okay, so what you'll see is this is just an aggregate mark that's been selected, and it's just the big number. Now, if I have a date dimension, like I do here with daily call volume, for example, then I can actually have this timeline included below. Now, both of them provide a great amount of information, but I quite enjoy one that has the timeline here, and it looks pretty amazing when we'll click onto it in a moment. So let's go ahead and create a new metric. So move this over a little bit. So I'm going to use average call duration for this. All right. Now, it's important to remember that, as Brandi mentioned before, let's just pretend, I think she used the example of a north region. Let's pretend up here I had like right here, I had a filter for regions. And let's pretend I set this to the north region, or it was still in the north region. Now, when I create this metric will be filtered to the north metric, or the north region. And so if you don't want it filtered to that, you would want to go up and unclear that. So any filters that are applied will be applied on the dashboard, will be applied to the metric that you create. So let's go ahead and click on a mark here, and we should see, I'm sorry, click on a mark here and then click create. And we have a preview here of our metric that we're going to create. Now it gives it a name, and I'm going to clean that name up just a little bit. I'm going to call it the Baltimore call duration metric. And in the description, I'll just give it a slightly better name. We'll say call duration Baltimore by minutes, because we have a little bit more space. Okay. And the date range here, or the date range here is the last 100 marks. I'm just going to go with and in this case, the marks would just be days. I'm just going to go with the last 30 days, the last 30 marks. Historical is fine as it is. Historical will just be for how far I want to go, want to compare against. The default of 1 is fine. The only measure I have right here is the average call duration, so I can't even select anything. So I'll leave that as it is. We do have a date dimension, and it's going to my project folder. Now I could change that by clicking change location. Could send it somewhere else, but I'm fine with it going to my project folder here. So I'm going to exit out of that. And let's go ahead and create it. Okay. Now it said it was unable to create this metric. I received this yesterday, so I think that's actually an error. You shouldn't experience that, but I believe it still works. So I will confirm that here. And it says, oh, it's asking me if I want to overwrite this Baltimore call duration metric I just created. So clearly it does exist because I just created it. So let me cancel this. I don't want to overwrite it. Let me go back, exit out of here, and go take a look at my recently created metric. Or let's see if it was created. Okay, we can find metrics on the Explore pane, on the navigation pane here under Explore. And if I go to the drop down here, I can see all metrics. Now, where was the Baltimore one I created? Ah, here it is. So it was in fact created. Let me go ahead and click on it, take a look. Now, I love this. I've recently been using Ask Data, and I'm not thrilled about the visualizations that it creates, but in regards to the metrics, I think this is a pretty beautiful metric that's been automatically created for you. Um, you'd be hard pressed to find a beginner developer that would create something this pretty. And so the fact that this is pumped out automatically is quite amazing. So you see here, I have my big number, my band. I have the change as a percent, and then how much it actually changed. It gives me, because I have had a date dimension, I actually can look at how things change, this timeline here, how things change over time. And I even have the side panel over here where I can share the metric with other people. I can add them onto it, or I can just copy this link and share it with others. Now, it gives me some additional information. It's just under metric details here. It tells me that I am the owner, so that makes sense because I did create it. It shows me the description that I gave it. The big thing here is that it gives me the dashboard. So I can click on this and it can send me back the dashboard where this was created. I have the definitions here, so I know this is average call duration in minutes. It confirms here I do have a date dimension, which is kind of confirmed by this visual. It shows me the project I saved it to, when it was modified, and any tags that have been added. Now, no tags have been added yet, but we will go over tags in a few moments. So let me go back here. Now let's just say I wanted to delete this metric. Right? I have actually this one looks like it's a duplicate. These are of daily calls. So how would I go about deleting something? Well, it'd be very similar to what we showed before, what Brandi showed before, using the ellipsis here. So I click this ellipsis. I can either click delete here, or if let's say for some reason I wanted to delete everything, I could click select all. And now what I've done here is by select all, I have selected everything that's on this page. Now, if I want to delete everything, I go over to my actions and I can see it's again selected these 4 items. I go down to items and I can delete all 4. Now I don't want to delete all 4. I just want to delete just let's say I just want to delete the daily call volumes here. So I'm going to clear this. And so this is one thing important that I think I see a lot of people hesitate when they are sharing their screens. Some people oftentimes you read this and you're uncertain what's going to happen because you may not want to create all 4 of these metrics again there's some fear that you're going to delete all your good work. So don't worry, no fear. Delete is the only thing that will delete everything. Clearing all will only clear the selection that you made. So it is just going to clear the select all selection. So I'm going to clear all, nothing damaged, everything's still fine. And I'm going to go down to my daily calls and I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And that's how you remove a metric. Or that's one of the 2 ways. There's 2 ways to remove metrics. Let's see. While I'm here, let me just go to my workbook. While I'm here, let me just go over the quick search. And Brittany talked about how she likes the filtered search. So we'll touch on both search options here. So the quick search is right up here. And it's at the top of your page. It functions basically like a search engine. Think about it like a Google search for your site. And it's pretty robust. It's just going to pull everything in. So it's kind of like drinking water through a fire hose instead of a water fountain. But if you're looking for something and you know what you're looking for, you can find it quite easily. Now, recently, one of the things I used to talk about a good deal, and personally, I loved a lot, and we have in our book, but are no longer available in the most recent update of Tableau Server, are things like search operators and search attributes. And that's okay. You don't, they were nice to have, but you don't need them. So if you're familiar with what I'm talking about there, unfortunately, they are gone. If you're not familiar with search operators or search attributes, don't worry about it. They no longer exist on Tableau Server or Tableau Online. So in this quick search, what I'm going to do here is let's say I want to only search for things created by Chimdi News or that have Chimdi's name in them, because we are using work created by 3 individuals within the Tableau community that gave us the rights to use their work in our book and to present. So those 3 individuals are, and they're named here under these dashboards, are Chimdi Newuso, Luther Flagstad, and Mark Bradburn. And we're using all data from the hashtag here, hashtag RWFD, the Real World Fake Data Initiative. So everything you're seeing here is available on Tableau Public by those 3 individuals. And Real World Fake Data is a fantastic initiative if anyone is interested in joining that or participating in that. So let me get back to the quick search here. So at the top of my page here, I'm just going to type in Chimdi's name. So anything that has Chimdi's name in it should appear here. And you see, I could hit enter and it would just give me, let me hit enter here. It'll just give me everything. Again, like I said, it just throws everything in front of me. It's a little bit much. So if you want everything, that's the route you go. However, if you want to be more refined in your search, what I could do is I can look here and I can see, okay, it did filter out just the views that are associated with Chimdi. So we have our views. It also shows me the workbooks associated with Chimdi's name. And and that's it. Now, if I use real world fake data, the acronym here, I see that there are 34 views, 8 dashboards associated with that, 1 metric, and 1 project. And that's great. But like I said, sometimes that's a bit much. It is like I said, drinking water through a fire hose. So if you want to be a bit more refined in your search, I would recommend using the filtered search. And that's just over here. And the icon that represents it is a little funnel. It's adorable. So I click on this funnel on the right-hand side. It opens up a side pane. And what you can see is there are a lot of options here. In fact, I have to scroll down. That's how many options there are. In fact, there are text box where I can enter, very similar to the quick search, but there are also lots of drop downs. Okay, here's tags, which we'll go over later. Now, just keep in mind the fact that there are a lot of options here, because I want that to be clear. Now, the interesting thing about filter searches is that in addition to general filters that may appear on every option you have here in this list under Explore, is that some filters will be unique to their type. So for a quick example, I'm just going to go to projects. So remember, I just want to call out one item here, just so it's something visually you can see that will be removed. You see tags are here right now when I'm looking at workbooks. If I go one level up to projects, notice I don't even need to scroll anymore. So you don't need to remember what was available, but just realize that a lot of the drop downs that were available are now missing, including tags, because if you see here, you can include tags on projects. So that's just one quick thing about filtered search to remember. But I think it's, again, depending on your use case, depending what you're looking for, and depending how you want to search, those two things are available. And both of them are very, very useful. Now, I was talking about tags, so let me describe what tags are. I alluded to that earlier when I hovered over this, and I do have a few tags available, and I do quite enjoy tags. I have a blog post out there discussing, I think, their underutilization. But what are tags? So let me go back. I think we have some information here. Oops, some information right here. So what are tags? I'll only reference it with some social media. So people may be familiar with tags from things like Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn or even blog posts. And if you're not, let me just explain what a tag is. A tag is just simply a keyword or a phrase that can be used to label or group certain topics or content to make it faster and easier to find specific information on a site, right? So what does that mean for Tableau Server? Well, it's very similar. It's very similar to social media. So if you're familiar with social media tags, then utilizing tags on a site like Tableau Server or Tableau Online should be very, very easy. Uh, on Tableau Server, a keyword is just a phrase that can be attached to things like a workbook, a view, metrics, or data sources, and they just help you filter and categorize content. So these are a few tips that are our own, right? These are just our tips. So treat it like an a la carte menu. If you don't like any of these, just take them and throw them away. Keep the ones that work, discard the ones that don't for you. So these are somewhat opinionated. But here are a few of our tips. First, review existing tags, right? No need to recreate the wheel. If something already exists, oops, if something already exists, find it here. I want to get rid of that one. Okay, if something already exists as a tag right here, you can already use it if you'd like to do that, right? So go through your essentially your Rolodex of existing tags, and see if there's something that you want to utilize. If it doesn't exist, you'll have to create your own. If it does exist, go ahead and use it. Also, use keywords. So words that maybe in your industry or within your organization are commonly utilized, things that you or others would often recognize. Also, keep your tags as short as possible, but also keep them as descriptive as possible. I know that's kind of counterintuitive, but you want to be concise if you can. It'll be make it a lot easier for searching. Also, check your spelling, right? If you're using a tag if you're using a tag here and you're searching for it, let's say in your quick search, but you misspell, let's say you're writing human resources and you left the S off. It just said human resources. Now you're searching for it, it's not going to pull up, and you're going to be confused as to why. Well, it's because you misspelled it. So just a quick search, just making sure you spelled everything right is always helpful, especially especially if you're a bad speller like I am. Now, I want to flip that on its head and say, this is one of my favorites. That's why I keep it at the end, hold it until the end. It's to include common misspellings as keywords. Now, why would you do this? This is almost like counterintuitive. This is the exact opposite of what I just said about checking your spelling. I'm actually telling you to put common misspellings in as tags. Well, why would you do that? Well, if you know there's a word commonly misspelled, something like conscience, right? people a word that's frequently misspelled, where there's people spell three different ways all the time, and this is going to be in the, let's say, in the title or in the description, and it's gonna make it difficult to find if people are using searches here. Well, if you go ahead and use tags to enter in the common misspellings, then you can actually have them find those things and pull up in a search items that, even though it's misspelled, they're still able to find it quickly on the site. So let me go ahead and show you quickly how to add a tag. Okay. So again, we're going right to the ellipsis here. I'm going to click it, and right about in the middle, you see tags available here. And I already have an existing tag here for HR, for human resources, because I'm using the acronym here of HR. So let's call this let's actually call it, let's do something that I also want to talk about, which is that it's possible to create tags that contain multiple words. And I quite like this, because if you're familiar with something like Twitter, you have to use underscores or special formatting. Here in Tableau, you don't have to do that. And recently, you previously used to use quotation marks. You don't even need to do quotation marks anymore to have one continuous uh, multiple words in a tag. So here, let's say this is Pat's VizConnect demo. And I'm just going to select it here. And notice how it's three separate words, and it's just fine. And now I'm going to save that tag. Okay, successfully updated. And now if I hover over this workbook, you'll see that I have two tags. First, the original human resources tag, and the new tag for Pat's VizConnect demo. Now, what if I wanted to, what do I want to have all three of these have Pat's VizConnect demo, but I didn't feel like going into each one of these and manually adding it. Now, I could do that, and if I did start typing it, I would see that quickly it identifies the fact that I do have an existing tag with Pat in the name, if I wanted to use that. But let's say I really do want to add this tag to everything that has real world fake data associated with it. What I could do is I could go up to here and say select all. I could go over to my actions. You see I have 8 items selected here. And I'm going to go to tag, and I am going to tag, say, demo to all of them. Oh, there we go. That's demo to all of them. Now you see it went from 8 to 1, and that's because I had that tag only initially on one, the one I just created. And now I'm applying it to all 8 of these workbooks. So I'm going to hit save tags. Okay, successful. And if I look now under my tags, under the filtered drop down here, you'll now see that Pat's VizConnect demo has 8 tags associated with it. Now, how am I going to, let's say I want to find this. So that's the first way. I can go ahead and click Pat's VizConnect demo, and you'll see everything here is just the same stuff that I already had. So let me remove it from a couple of them, actually. Say, select all, tags. Let me save that. And I'm just going to select Video Explorer. Oh my goodness, I think I deleted all those. Just not what I wanted to do.
Oh, you've got the filtered search on the right set
Oh,
too.
that was it. Thank you, Randy. Clear that. Oh my goodness, I was very worried there. I was like, how did I do that? Okay. Okay. So now I'm back. And now what I want to do is I'm just going to apply it to just 3. So I'm just going to apply it to just chimney stuff here. So let's do a quick select all, actions, add a tag. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, cancel. Actually, clear that. I'm going to do it manually. Click these 3. Okay, how about these 3? Action, tag, I'm going to give it demo as a name, save. Okay, so now we'll see here in the tags, you'll see the demo exists 3 times, the tag I just created. So that's one way to find it, but I could also just go up here and use my quick search, just type in demo. Now I don't have my search attributes any longer, but I can see here down below, I have my views. So these are the views that are associated with these 3 workbooks. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click select all here and just pull up those 3 workbooks. And if I hover over each of these, you'll see demo under tags, and a third time. Here's my tooltip here. There we go. And demo. Now, you saw I just showed you how to remove those. I showed you how to find those. But I'll go do one last time. I'll go ahead and remove all of those. So let's go back one. And let me go ahead and just remove one of those just to show again. So to remove a tag, there's one way to do it manually. I'm just going to go in under tag. I'm going to click this X button, which will remove that, and hit save. And I should go from three tags that say demo to two. And I can confirm that here. There we go. Now I'm down to two. So I really think that tags are a great way to help you really improve your ability to find, filter, and categorize workbooks, metrics, and data sources. And it's great because you can, no, this is just my own site, so it's very small, but imagine, in a big organization, you can have an ocean of published content. And if you can utilize these tags to fit your individual needs to find things, then maybe you make your own personal tags. This is just like I put something that's like Pat's, it's Pat's finance or something like that. And so everything that's related that I want to find that's finance related, I can assign a tag to. Now, one of the issues with that, though, is that other people will see that tag and they could use it. So that could be problematic. So while I do love tags, there's a new option available called collections. And this is something we actually did not write about in the book, but it is pretty amazing. And I would like to take an opportunity to talk about it. So let me click over here under the navigation pane and go into collections. Okay, and we see I have three collections here. So collections just lets you organize your related items into an easy to access list. Let me go ahead and click on one of those lists here that I have. So the great thing about this is you can organize a collection, organize these lists in a way that's meaningful to you, things that you want to find. And that means that it doesn't matter who owns it or what project the this the item that you clicked on. So it could be a view or a data source or a dashboard. It doesn't matter where it lives on a site. You can kind of centralize all these in one location. Now, the cool thing about this is you can either keep this private to yourself or you can share it with others. There's a share button up here. And then one quick note. I don't think this will probably be problematic to many people, but one quick note on collections is that you can only have a maximum of 1,000 items in a collection. Now you see here I only have three. But if you ever broaching the topic, there is a maximum number of items, and it is 1,000. I doubt that'll be problematic for many people, but if it is, it's probably good to know. So, what are some good use cases before we go ahead and create a collection ourselves or a new collection? Some use cases. Let's think. You could use this for yourself. So maybe it's just personal. So maybe you're working on a project and you realize you're frequently going to the same dashboards over and over again, or maybe the same dashboards and data sources over and over again that are all related to this marketing project that you're working on. Well, you could create a collection to centralize all of that information in one location. Now, what if we're doing this for maybe a team of individuals like analysts or sellers, for example, and you want to centralize a bunch of approved dashboards that they should be using, but they're using things from disparate departments, right? So they're using something from sales and marketing and finance, and you say, guys, you're all over the place. What's better than favorites and what's better than maybe tags in the situation? Because those could work, but what might be a little cleaner is using a collection. And I'll just create this collection for you of the 6 dashboards that you need to use across sales, marketing, and finance. And then I'll share that collection with you. And you can just click on the collection and it'll be nice and organized. So there are a couple of ways. Let me go back here. There are a couple of ways to create collections. So you can create a new collection right here. So I'll just create one, just clicking it here. And I'll just call it a new collection and save. And this takes me back to explore my content. So if I go back here to, let's just say collections here. Now I have an empty collection here with nothing in it. But if I go into some content, so let's say I go back to my Explore, and I'm going to go to Workbooks. If I want to add something, I can just go to the ellipsis again. Notice we're using the ellipsis a lot here. And I go to Add Collection, Add to Collections. And I'll see here, there's my new collection. I could also create a new collection here, and I'll go ahead and do that. I'll create a new collection, and I'm going to call this VizConnect collection. And I'm going to create it. Okay, and add. Now I've created a new collection. So while I'm doing this, well, maybe what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and use a couple of things we've already been using here. I'm going to go ahead and create a VizConnect collection that contains every workbook that Chimney has created. Okay, so now just a quick search, pulled up everything that has Chimney's name associated with it, and I have 4 workbooks. So I don't feel like clicking all of them this time. I'm just going to go to select all. I've selected 4 items. It's the 4 workbooks. Go to actions. I'm going to go to my add collections at the very top here. And I'm going to look and I'm going to add these all to my VizConnect collection. Kind of redundant. And I'm going to go to collections here. I could click here, like Tableau Desktop. Tableau Server is very similar, but there's a lot of ways to get to. Tableau provides you with a lot of ways to get to where you're going. So I'm just going to click this one. I could have also clicked down here if I wanted to. This is easier. And in fact, I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call this VizConnect Collection Chimney Edition. If I can spell it. Okay. And because Chimney's going platinum, definitely is. If Chimney is not a Tableau visionary next year, I'd be shocked. Okay. So now this is pretty cool, but I only have workbooks in here. So finally, let's say I want to include a few other things. So let me go to my Explorer, and I'm going to put in a metric real quickly. So just one metric here, and I'm going to add that to my collection. I'm going to add that to my Chimney edition. And one more thing, I'm going to go to my views. I'm just going to select an individual view that maybe I'm using a lot. Agent performance, that's perfect. And I'm going to add that to my collection down here. Sometimes in the dropdown, uh, it's not always going to be in the same place depending on what page you're on. So I'm going to click Chimney Edition again. I'm going to add it, and I'm going to go right to my collections. Here's my VizConnect collection, Chimney Edition, and you see all the items in this collection have been selected. All 6 of these items are available here now. So again, I showed you up here. If you do want to share this with somebody, boom, you can add the users individually. There's my name, or that. I could also just share the link right like that. And if I want to get rid of this, I could just delete it from here. Or if I go under collections again. Now, one thing about collections actually is they're not under Explore. So if I go to Explore here, which I've been using quite a lot, you'll notice that I don't see collections available. But again, they're right here on the navigation pane. So I go to collections again, and I go to my VizConnect collection, and I click the ellipsis. I click delete, and I confirm, yes, I do want to delete this. I can go and get rid of that collection that I just created. Okay. Now, don't worry. Sorry. The last thing I just want to go over is I did that quite quickly. Now, when I deleted that collection, it did not delete all the metrics. It did not delete the metric, the view, or the workbooks that I had put in there. Um, that was just a link basically between all those items. It's essentially like a shortcut. So you can rest assured that, let's just go back and take a quick look. And in fact, Chimney's overview, his real world fake data dashboard does still in fact exist. It was not removed. Okay. With that, I think that's everything that we were going over. I think we're right at time. So we have a few moments to go over, I think, our Tableau community, how the Tableau community impacted us and our journey. So I kind of briefly went over that myself. I'll go first, and I'll hand it off to Brandi. Like I said before, my Tableau journey started about maybe about 5 years ago when I was first introduced to Tableau uh, in grad school. And since then, it's really taken off. I knew right away that I really liked it because it was very interactive, drag and drop features, very simple and intuitive to learn. Loved it right away, and quite frankly, it provided um, a lot of creativity, which I quite enjoyed. And I feel like that's become even more robust over time. Like I just shocked. And we're showing Chimney's dashboard right here. This is a business dashboard, but it's gorgeous. I mean, it's just amazing how far things have come even in the four or so years that I've been using Tableau. And during my journey, I really started using it. I became very involved, or became more involved in the community over time. I just kind of put my foot in the water to see what's going on, and just started participating in community initiatives like Sports Viz Sunday and Makeover Mondays, and I'm trying to think what else, uh, Project Health Viz, and other initiatives like that. And then I've started to venture off on just personal projects, things that I find to be fun on my own. So that really one of the best things that I've learned, and I'm trying to think. This came to me a few years ago. I was having a conversation with somebody. Basically said it doesn't really matter if you get 100 likes or 10 likes, as long as you enjoyed what you're doing. So get out there and start building things and realize that the first couple dashboards I ever put up on Twitter received essentially no likes. I mean, I think I had like one or two people like them. I didn't really know what I was doing. I barely knew how to use Twitter. I wasn't even incorporating my posts with LinkedIn. Don't worry, just keep it up. You'll get over time. The community is so robust and so nice that there's really should be no fear in starting. And I think that really is the barriers that you just don't know where to start. I think it's like the Chinese proverb, right? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So just get started. And I'm really thankful because the Tableau community has really embraced both of us, and it's had a profound impact on not just personal life, but also on my career. Uh, I've said it. I said it recently on Twitter, but I think that the Tableau community has been more instrumental in my career than pretty much anything else. Definitely than my MBA. Right now, my MBA did introduce me to Tableau, but the job that I have now and the job that I had before that were all a result of basically my Tableau public portfolio and my presence in the Tableau community. So that's kind of my journey and my experience with the Tableau community. Brandi, do you want to talk about yours?
Sure, thanks, Pat. So really, I actually kind of just fell into the analytics space. I didn't go to school for it or anything like that. I started as a budget analyst, and I was primarily using Excel. I really was just using Excel constantly, so for a couple of years. And I got to a point where I was actually building interactive dashboards uh, in Excel, and that was, as you can imagine, quite a feat. Um, and then a friend of mine was working at Allstate, where I used to, that was my first job where I was introduced to Tableau. So she got me started there in their analytics space. It was this kind of up and coming analytics group that was really investing in Tableau heavily. And so I got some great training there. Pat, that's where I met Pat. He took me under his wing and we got to partner on a lot of big projects for our team. And eventually, over time, after a few years, it was time for us to move on. So I started at Keyurice US in this past November. So consulting has been a very fun challenge, but I mean, at this point, I've even been, like leading Tableau training sessions. So it's kind of come full circle, which is pretty fun. The Tableau community has had a major impact and just role in this whole process. I mean, I've received job offers from Twitter. If you'd have told me that, 5, 10 years ago, I'd have thought you were nuts. I also, that's where I met my North Texas Tug co-leads and really just made a ton of friends and expanded my professional network. Um, Tableau community is actually how I got this job that I'm at now at Curious. So most of you know Adam Miko, our data fan mayor, and he was at Curious for a good while, really loved it, and he kind of recruited me into the company. But I would have never met Adam had it not been for the Tableau community. So it was really just kind of a chain effect there. And then just in general, just my growth in my technical skills and then learning about data in general, my career just 10 times faster than it would have been without all that extra help and without the support of the community and just the resources out there. Um, people pay a ton of money to get content like that. That's not even close to being as good as what we get for free in the community, just from everybody putting themselves out there. So it's truly amazing. And I still use the community for inspiration when I'm designing dashboards. I get ideas on new things, new designs, and things to do there, and even calculation help. I think date calculations are hard for most people, so it's always fun to just you don't have to memorize every little thing. If you know where to find it in the community, you just constantly got that resource at your side. So that's really awesome. But it's all thanks to the amazing work of the people just sharing what they know and wanting to better those around them. So it's just been a really amazing experience. So I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah, speaking of Adam, I just want to say Adam actually wrote the foreword. You can't see it here, but wrote the foreword to the book, which is very thankful to individuals like Adam to lend his time and even recruit Brandi. But also just again a shout out to uh, Mark Radburn for just allowing us to utilize his real world fake data initiative in our book and share some of his dashboards, as well as Chimdi Newuso and Luther Flagstead. Both very generous with their time. And there's several other people from the community that you'll see. The images in the book, I think Autumn Batani and Kevin Flaherledge. But as you go through it, you'll see that it's steeped in with individuals from the Tableau community all over, because we didn't want to make this about us. And in fact, the last chapter really does talk about how to ingratiate yourself in the Tableau community, discuss initiatives, and where to find data, how to get started. So all the things that we wish we had when we were coming up, we wanted to centralize that at the very end of the book, just to tie everything together and say, look, if you want to go one step further, here's how you start. So one step further beyond just navigating Tableau servers like a basic analyst or basic end user. But that's it. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for having us. It's really been a real treat to be on VizConnect. It's something that I've really been looking forward to. So thank you, Sagar. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Sagar. And also just everyone, if you found this session helpful, we hope that you'll consider purchasing the book. It's on Amazon, and you can purchase it directly from our publisher, Pact. So it's PACKT. And yeah, we hope you'll purchase it and leave us a review and let us know what you thought. And definitely reach out and connect with us on Twitter. And we'd love to meet everybody.
Yeah, definitely post up and let us know what you think of the book. Good, bad, or ugly. If you feedback. I mean, some of it, obviously things have changed in the book, so there may be a few things that have changed slightly. I would assume that I would say that most of the things have changed for the better, so things have become even better than when we wrote this a few months ago. But Tableau is always evolving, so maybe there will be a second edition if I can drag Brandi into it. But yeah, please connect with us on LinkedIn and Twitter and leave us a book review and just let us know what you think. Really appreciate it.